And being a girl dad at this point kind of makes you more vulnerable, and I'm ready for that stage of my life. And
What if the same man who flipped hip-hop fashion on its head and dated one of the wealthiest women in music almost lost it all behind cold Swedish jail bars? Imagine facing a possible life sentence, and then walking out of a Los Angeles courtroom in February 2025, free, not guilty of felony assault charges that could have locked him away for 24 long years. Yappy. Rocky didn't just build a $20 million empire, he fought for it. He survived 2 criminal trials, saw his own brother get murdered, and lost his father while he was still locked up. Yet somehow, he turned all that heartbreak into pure power, shaping a global wave that changed music and fashion forever. And through it all, he never forgot Harlem, the streets that made him, tested him, and pushed him to rise higher. By the end of this story, you'll see, this isn't just about survival. It's about a kid who refused to let pain or circumstance define his destiny.
Find the defendant, Rakim Mayers. Not guilty.
October 3rd, 1988, Manhattan, New York. Rakim Athalaston Mayers came into a world that didn't promise him a thing. His mom, Renee Black, named him after the rap legend Rakim, one half of the iconic duo Eric B. and Rakim. His dad, Adrian Mayers, came straight from Barbados, bringing that Caribbean rhythm that would later tie Rocky and Rihanna together in ways nobody could have ever seen coming. But the Harlem that raised Rocky? It wasn't the fancy gentrified version full of glass condos and overpriced coffee shops you see today. Nah, this was 90s Harlem. Crack epidemic Harlem. The kind of neighborhood where every day felt like a battle, where making it to 18 wasn't guaranteed, and survival meant learning the streets fast. Rocky picked up the mic at just 8 years old, soaking up everything from his older brother, the same brother who rocked those signature French braids that Rocky would one day make iconic. Then, when Rocky was just 12, his world flipped upside down. His father got locked up for selling drugs. Overnight, the little stability they had vanished, and life got real in a way no kid should ever have to face. Rocky's mom did everything she could to hold the family together, but life kept hitting hard. There were times when they had no place to stay, bouncing between homeless shelters all over New York City while she worked multiple jobs just to make sure her kids had something to eat. It was survival mode every single day. Then came the moment that shattered everything. When Rocky was just 13, tragedy struck. His older brother, Ricky, was murdered in Harlem, shot and killed on the same blocks where Rocky had learned to rap, to hustle, to dream. Those were the same streets that raised him, and the same ones that took his brother away forever. Rocky's talked about it in interviews, saying watching his brother die changed his entire outlook on life. He realized fast that Harlem streets didn't care how talented you were or what dreams you had. They'd chew you up and spit you out if you weren't careful. That pain flipped a switch in him. Rap stopped being a hobby. It became a lifeline, his only shot at escaping a world that had already stolen too much from him. He took on the name ASAP Rocky, with ASAP standing for Always Strive and Prosper, a powerful mantra born from watching success slip away from everyone around him. It was more than just a name. It was a promise to himself to rise above everything that tried to break him. In 2007, Rocky linked up with the AAAP Mob, a Harlem-based collective founded by AAAP Yams and AAAP Bari, a group that would shake the entire hip-hop scene to its core. But this crew wasn't just making tracks. They were building a whole movement, redefining what Harlem hip-hop could look and sound like. While New York rap was locked into hardcore street stories, AAAP Mob broke the mold, mixing southern rap flows, trippy cloud rap vibes, and high-fashion swagger that no one had ever seen from Harlem before. It was bold, different, and loud, and not everyone liked it. Old-school New York purists came for him hard, calling it weirdo rap, claiming he wasn't representing the real New York sound. But Rocky didn't care, not one bit. He knew he was creating something fresh, something bigger, a whole new wave that couldn't be boxed in. A.S.A.P. Yams, born Steven Rodriguez, wasn't just Rocky's friend, he was his mentor, the brain behind the entire ASAP mob movement. Yams had a genius mind for strategy and a vision that saw far beyond Harlem's corners. While most rappers were still figuring out how to use Twitter, Yams was already mastering the internet game. He understood that you didn't need a major label to blow up. You needed realness, consistency, and a sound nobody could ignore. Then came 2011, the year everything flipped. Rocky dropped Peso and Purple Swag on YouTube, and the internet exploded. These tracks didn't sound like anything coming out of New York at the time. Rocky was spitting about purple drink, designer fits, and trippy, spaced-out vibes over beats that felt more Houston than Harlem. The production was dreamy, his flow smooth as silk, and his energy completely magnetic. In no time, everyone, from fans to labels, was watching. The rap industry started fighting to sign him, throwing crazy offers left and right. And in October 2011, Rocky sealed the deal, signing a massive $3 million record contract with Polo Grounds Music, RCA Records, and Sony Music Entertainment.
We're on 116th right now between Manhattan Ave and Morningside. That's the block that I was born on in '88.
Harlem had just birthed a global superstar. It was a massive deal, especially for an artist who hadn't even dropped a full album yet. The same kid who once slept in shelters was suddenly sitting on millions. But instead of blowing it all on flashy cars and diamond chains, Rocky made some real moves. He used that money to get his family straight, helping his mom finally escape financial struggle, and he poured the rest back into ASAP Mob, the crew that built him up from nothing. Rocky wasn't blind to how the industry worked. He'd seen too many one-hit wonders get their check, flex for a minute, then fade into silence. So he played it smart, thinking long-term and building something solid. Then, in January 2013, he dropped his debut studio album, Long Live EAP, and it exploded. The album debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200, selling 139,000 copies in its first week. The lead single, Fee and Problems, featuring Drake, 2 Chainz, and Kendrick Lamar, became a monster hit, peaking at #8 on the Billboard Hot 100. The project brought together producers like Hit Boy, Clams Casino, and Danger Mouse, each track showing off Rocky's ear for style and his gift for blending sounds effortlessly. With songs like Goldie, Wild for the Night, featuring Skrillex and Fashion Killer, Rocky proved he wasn't just another rapper. He was building an empire with flavor, vision, and fearlessness. These tracks showed just how wide Rocky's range really was, from raw street anthems to wild experimental beats to slick, fashion-heavy flexing. But Rocky wasn't just making music anymore. He was building a whole identity, a movement that blurred the line between rap and runway. While other rappers were just wearing designer brands, Rocky lived fashion like it was art. He didn't just buy luxury pieces. He studied them, embodied them, and turned them into his own statement. Soon he was sitting front row at Paris Fashion Week, walking through the same spaces as the world's most elite designers and linking up with icons like Raf Simons, Rick Owens, and Jeremy Scott. He became one of the first rappers to crash into high fashion in a way that felt real, not like a business move. Pure authenticity with Harlem swagger. Then came 2015, a bittersweet year that changed everything. Rocky dropped his second studio album, At Long Last a Tap, ALLA, a trippy, soulful project dedicated to his brother-in-arms AAP Yams, who tragically passed away that January from an accidental drug overdose at just 26 years old. Yam's death hit Rocky and the entire ASAP mob hard. The man who built the vision, who believed in Rocky before the fame, was suddenly gone. And that loss left a hole nothing could ever truly fill. ALLA debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200, proving that Rocky wasn't just a rapper, he was a visionary. But this album hit different. more experimental, more emotional, more personal. Tracks like LSD pulled listeners deep into his psychedelic side, dripping with dreamy production and hypnotic melodies. Meanwhile, songs like Every Day, featuring Rod Stewart and Electric Body with Schoolboy Q, showed just how far Rocky was willing to go to mix genres, styles, and vibes into something completely his own. Critics took notice, calling the project bold and ambitious. Rocky wasn't chasing the same formula that blew him up back in 2011. He was evolving, taking risks, and pushing the boundaries of what hip-hop could sound like. This wasn't about chart toppers anymore. It was about creating art. Then came 2018, and Rocky dropped his third studio album, Testing. This one took experimentation to a whole new level. The project featured production and collaborations with Frank Ocean, Kid Cudi, FKA Twigs, and more. Songs like Praise the Lord, Da Shine, featuring Skepta lit up playlists everywhere, becoming instant hits.
I was rapping first at age 8, man, and I always had rap in there. Like it was always a hobby.
But not everyone vibed with it. Some fans praised his creativity and bravery, while others said he drifted too far from the sound that made him famous. Rocky didn't flinch though. He clapped back, saying he was an artist, not a jukebox. Then, in June 2019, everything took a dark turn. While in Stockholm, Sweden for a music festival, an unexpected incident went down, one that would flip Rocky's life upside down and dominate headlines around the world. Rocky and his crew were just walking through the streets of Stockholm when things took a sharp turn. Two men started following them, refusing to back off, even after Rocky was caught on camera repeatedly telling them to stop. He tried to keep things calm, tried to de-escalate, but it didn't work. Eventually, tensions exploded, and a fight broke out between Rocky's team and the men following them. That's when it all spiraled out of control. Swedish police swooped in, arresting Rocky and charging him with aggravated assault. What should have been a minor street scuffle turned into an international firestorm. Rocky was locked up for 3 long weeks in Sweden, under conditions he later described as inhumane. He was stuck in a small cell with no proper bed, sleeping on a yoga mat, eating food that barely passed as edible. The whole world started watching. One of America's biggest rap icons, trapped in a foreign jail, not even sure if he'd ever walk free again. The story exploded across social media, and the hashtag Justice for Rocky went viral. Celebrities like Tyler, the Creator, and Jaden Smith spoke out loud, demanding his release. Even Kim Kardashian stepped in, contacting Kanye West, who then reached out directly to President Donald Trump. Trump jumped into the situation publicly, tweeting his support, calling for Rocky's freedom, and even sending a special envoy to Sweden to oversee the case. The whole thing became bigger than hip-hop. It turned into a global spectacle. Rocky was eventually found guilty of assault, but he caught a break. The court handed him a conditional sentence, meaning he wouldn't serve any extra jail time beyond the month he'd already spent behind bars. When he finally got released and flew back to the US in August 2019, he wasn't the same man who'd left. That experience left deep scars, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Rocky later opened up about what it felt like to sit in a foreign jail, completely cut off from the world, not knowing if he'd ever get out. He said the hardest part wasn't just the confinement. It was watching his entire career hang in the balance while he couldn't do a thing to stop it. Imagine being on top of the world one day, then locked in a cell the next, unsure if your freedom, your fame, or your future would ever come back. But Rocky didn't fold, not for a second. Instead, he used that pain as fuel and came back with a sharper focus than ever before. By 2020, life took another wild turn. He started dating Rihanna, one of the biggest superstars on the planet and the richest female musician in the world. They'd been cool for years. Rocky even opened for her Diamond World Tour back in 2013. But in 2020, that friendship flipped into something real. The chemistry was undeniable, and suddenly, hip-hop's most stylish rebel was matched up with pop culture's ultimate queen. What Rocky and Rihanna had was different. This wasn't some flashy, headline-chasing romance. Their bond ran deep, built on years of friendship and mutual respect. They understood each other, the pressure of fame, the grind of building empires, and the constant struggle to stay real while living under the spotlight. They weren't just partners, they were equals, two global powerhouses moving as one. In interviews, Rocky didn't hold back. He called her the love of my life, and the world couldn't look away as two of entertainment's biggest icons turned their connection into something pure and lasting. Then, in May 2022, the couple welcomed their first son, RZA Athelston Mayers. The name wasn't random. It honored Rocky's own birth name, Rakim Athelston, and paid tribute to RZA, the legendary Wu-Tang Clan founder. It was the perfect blend of heritage, music, and legacy. Rocky stepped into fatherhood with full pride, openly talking about how being a dad completely changed his outlook on life. He spoke about responsibility, about legacy, about being present in every moment. More than anything, he was determined to be the father he never had, present, loving, and fully involved. But just weeks before little RZA was born, Rocky's world got shaken again. Another legal storm hit, and this time, it threatened to destroy everything he'd built. In April 2022, Rocky was arrested at Los Angeles International Airport right after flying back home. The charge? A connection to a November 2021 shooting in Hollywood. Authorities accused him of firing a gun during an argument with a former friend, fellow ADAP mob member AAP Relly, Terrell Efron. The accusations were heavy. 2 felony counts of assault with a semi-automatic firearm. If convicted, Rocky could have been staring down 24 years behind bars. It was a terrifying thought. The idea that he might miss his kids growing up, lose everything he'd fought for, and end up trapped in the same system that had already taken both his father and his brother. Through it all, Rocky stood firm, maintaining his innocence every step of the way. His legal team argued that he hadn't used a real weapon. They claimed it was a starter pistol, the kind that shoots blanks, and that he'd only acted in self-defense after being provoked. But prosecutors pushed back hard, insisting he'd fired an actual gun in public, putting lives in danger that night in Hollywood. As the case dragged on and the pressure mounted, Rocky tried to keep his focus on family. Then, in August 2023, while the world waited for the trial to wrap, he and Rihanna welcomed their second son, Riot Rose Mayers. 2 beautiful boys, born in the middle of chaos, became Rocky's reason to stay strong and keep fighting for his freedom and his future. Rocky was on a mission to break the cycle. He wanted his sons to grow up seeing a father who was there, steady and full of love, not trapped in the chaos that had haunted his own childhood. He was determined to show them that they didn't have to face the same violence, struggle, and instability he once did. But even with that purpose driving him, the trial loomed large over everything. All through 2023 and 2024, the legal fight dragged on, tense, exhausting, and unpredictable. Then in January 2025, Rocky made a bold move. He rejected a plea deal, choosing instead to stand his ground and fight the charges head-on. He truly believed in his innocence and was willing to risk everything to prove it. Through it all, Rihanna never left his side. She showed up at court, spoke publicly in his defense, and stood by him like a rock while still managing their family and their growing empire. The pressure was unbelievable, but together they held on. Then came February 2025, the month that would decide everything. After months of testimony, evidence, and endless arguments, the jury finally reached a verdict, and the courtroom fell silent. Moments later, the announcement dropped. ASAP. Rocky was found not guilty on both felony assault charges. He was free. The weight of years lifted off his shoulders in an instant. Rihanna was right there, sitting in the courtroom, watching it all unfold. And when the judge read the verdict, They left hand in hand, finally able to breathe, ready to move forward without that dark cloud of prison time hanging over their lives. Rocky had made it out, again. Another close call with a system that had already taken so much from him, but this time, he walked away stronger than ever. Then, in 2024, he dropped Don't Be Dumb, his first studio album in 6 years, and it hit deep. This wasn't just music, it was his life story poured into every beat. The project touched on everything: his legal battles, his journey into fatherhood, his love for Rihanna, and his growth as both a man and an artist. The album was stacked with heavyweight names, production from Pharrell Williams, Metro Boomin, and more, plus powerful features from Tyler, The Creator, J. Cole, and even Rihanna herself. One standout track, D.m.b, short for That's My B, became an anthem of love and loyalty, celebrating his relationship with Rihanna while also reflecting on the storms they'd weathered together. The music video made it even more personal. It included real footage of Rocky and Rihanna's life together, showing raw, intimate moments with their children. It wasn't about fame or flash, it was about truth. For the first time, the world saw Rocky fully unguarded. Not just the rap star or the fashion legend, but a father, a partner, and a survivor who'd been through it all and came out standing tall. The album Don't Be Dumb earned massive praise from critics and fans alike. People were blown away by its honesty, emotion, and musical growth. Rocky wasn't chasing the same sound that made him famous back in 2011. He was showing the world who he'd become. After years of chaos, courtroom battles, and personal growth, this was a man who'd lived, learned, and evolved. Then, in September 2025, life blessed him again. Rocky and Rihanna welcomed their third child, a beautiful baby girl named Rocky Irish Mayers. After 2 boys, they finally had their princess. The name Rocky carried on his legacy, while Irish honored Rihanna's deep ancestral roots, a perfect balance of both their worlds. Rocky shared emotional posts about becoming a girl dad, opening up about how much it meant to raise a daughter in a world that often overlooks or undervalues women. He spoke about wanting to be the kind of father who shows his daughter real love, real respect, and what true partnership looks like. Little Rocky Irish joined her big brothers RZA and Riot, completing the family that Rocky and Rihanna had been building piece by piece. This time, though, Rocky handled fatherhood differently. In the months after his daughter's birth, he stayed quiet, keeping things private, protecting his family from the noise of fame, and focusing on that sacred time at home. But even as a devoted dad and partner to a billionaire icon, Rocky's hustle never stopped. In November 2025, another challenge popped up. He got hit with a $1.1 million lawsuit over an alleged flood in his New York condo. The complaint claimed a burst hot water pipe in Rocky's unit caused major damage, made worse by a contractor who supposedly left windows open during freezing weather, turning a downstairs neighbor's apartment completely unlivable. Even with fatherhood, fame, and fortune, Rocky's life was still unpredictable. But one thing's for sure: he never stops fighting, never stops building, and never stops pushing forward. The lawsuit claimed negligence by both Rocky and the contractor, blaming them for the massive flood damage, another legal storm added to his already intense life. But even with court drama still in the mix, Rocky hasn't slowed down one bit. He's out here building an empire, proving he's more than just a rapper. He's a visionary. His partnership with Puma has been game-changing. Together, they've flipped the brand back into the spotlight, blending sleek motorsport aesthetics with urban streetwear swagger. Every drop sells out in minutes, with fans crashing Puma's website on multiple launch days. It's proof that Rocky isn't just putting his name on products. He's a real creative force, shaping modern fashion. As of 2025, ASAP Rocky's estimated net worth sits around $20 million, a fraction of Rihanna's legendary $1.4 billion fortune, but still the product of relentless work. He stacked wealth through music, bold fashion collaborations, his creative agency AWGE, and a wide range of business moves. He's teamed up with heavy-hitter brands like Dior, Guess, and Under Armour, all while securing high-paying performance gigs and feature appearances that keep his influence strong. But here's the thing. Rocky's legacy isn't just about money or fame. He's one of the most influential artists to ever bridge hip-hop and high fashion, keeping Harlem's soul alive while moving across global stages. Through it all, he's stayed loyal to A$AP Mob, to his roots, and to the message that built him. He's been open about mental health, trauma, and what it really means to break generational cycles. Yeah, the controversies keep coming, but so does the growth. Rocky's story is living proof that resilience, creativity, and authenticity can turn even the hardest struggles into unstoppable strength. Back in 2016, Rocky stirred up some serious controversy after comments he made about the Black Lives Matter movement. In an interview, he called it a bandwagon and said he didn't want to be boxed into speaking on political issues just because he's black. The internet went off. Fans and critics alike slammed him for being out of touch. The backlash was loud, and Rocky eventually stepped up to clarify his words, explaining that his comments were taken out of context. He said he wasn't trying to dismiss the movement. He just felt pressured to speak on issues he didn't fully understand at the time, and that he didn't want to sound performative. It was a rough lesson in how fast fame can twist your words, but also one that made him more mindful of what he says and why. Then came 2017, and things got tense inside the A$AP Mob. Rocky's relationship with A$AP Bari fell apart after Bari faced sexual assault allegations that shook the group's image. Rocky kept his distance, choosing not to defend what couldn't be defended, and focused instead on evolving both as an artist and as a man. He's also opened up about his own personal battles, talking openly about his past struggles with substance abuse, especially his use of psychedelics and lean. But fatherhood changed everything. Becoming a dad made him face those demons head-on, pushing him to take his health and presence seriously for the sake of his kids. Looking forward, Rocky's already teasing new chapters, fresh music, fashion collabs, and even film projects. He's talked about wanting to dive deeper into acting, building on his breakout role in the 2015 film Dope. There's no slowing down, just evolution, reinvention, and more fire on the way. Now with 3 children, Rocky's whole world has shifted. He's said that these days, he's way more selective about touring and travel, because nothing means more than family time. Still, even while slowing down to be present at home, he's out here building his creative empire piece by piece, keeping that ASAP vision alive and growing. His bond with Rihanna has completely redefined what a modern celebrity couple looks like. They're not just partners, they're 2 powerhouse entrepreneurs, each with their own massive empire, supporting and inspiring one another while raising a family in the middle of all the fame. What's wild is, despite being 2 of the most famous people on earth, they keep things low-key. They're rarely photographed together, choosing privacy over publicity, letting their love speak louder than the headlines. At home, Rocky's passing down hard-earned lessons to RZA, Riot, and Little Rocky Irish, teaching them about loyalty, resilience, and the power of staying true to yourself, even when the world tries to make you fit a mold. He wants them to know that success isn't about running from where you came from. It's about transforming it, owning it, and using it as fuel to create something greater. From homeless shelters to Dior campaigns, from watching his brother die in Harlem to raising 3 kids with a billionaire, from being locked in a Swedish jail cell to walking free out of a Los Angeles courtroom, from peso to d.m.b. ASAP Rocky's story isn't just about fame or survival. It's about evolution, legacy, and turning every pain into power. From being called out for not sounding New York enough to completely redefining what New York hip-hop could sound like, A$AP Rocky's journey isn't a fairy tale, it's real-life grit. His story proves what happens when you refuse to let your circumstances decide your fate. The kid who once slept in Harlem shelters is now standing tall beside the richest woman in music, Rihanna, raising a daughter who carries his name and legacy, and two sons who are learning that they can stay true to their roots and reach higher than anyone ever thought possible. And right now, somewhere in Harlem, on those same blocks that once took his father and his brother, there are young kids watching Rocky's rise, believing that maybe, just maybe, they can make it too. Not by turning their backs on where they came from, but by carrying Harlem with pride everywhere they go. Always strive and prosper. That's not just a catchy phrase. It's a code, a promise Rocky made to himself when he had nothing, and one he's kept even now that he has everything. If you were inspired by Rocky's story, hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives, share this with someone who needs that motivation today, and drop a comment below about your favorite All Ape Rocky moment. Let's keep this energy alive.